Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first to market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information from live in game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online is where the game starts.
I'm muted. My bad. Welcome to
Now,
another edition of Believe in Bills. What's going on, Bills Mafia? I am Justice General Radford, and of course, today, as usual, I got two legends in the game with me. Of course, the way y'all looking to my right, we got the Hall of Famer, Mr. Ruben Brown. We just came back from celebrating him. It's our first show back. Since celebrating Ruben, phenomenal event. I had a
Yeah.
blast, a lot of fun. Rube, what I'm saying, tell us about the event. How was it for you?
It was live, man. I really enjoyed meeting everyone over at the Mafia House. Dan, um, Sean. I gave him the name of Buffalo, but the guy that was doing a lot of the lifting and moving and getting things done around there. I just enjoyed how everybody's into the festivities leading up to the game and the excitement about it. So they make it very inviting for people to come and enjoy themselves leading up to the game. You can drink, you can eat. And speaking of eating, Anthony with them empanadas, woo!
That recipe for you, by the way. I got that recipe for you.
Justice, how many of them did I eat, man? Like 6?
Dude. What? You have more? Shoot. I would have one.
All the ones I had was me and you. I think I had about 3 or 4.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, it was good. I got that recipe for you, by the way. I called him. I had to call him up and see what he was doing different.
Yeah. I told you. Remember when I told you? I said, "Hey, man, whoever doing this, they got somebody's grandma recipe."
Yep.
Something like that.
Absolutely. Sorry about that, guys.
No, but it was mad love. I got a couple of dollars to give Anthony for the raffle that we raffled off the jersey and the rug. And so I wanted to give him a couple of dollars. They were raising some money through the Poncho group to give to some needy families during the holidays. So it wasn't a lot, but it's something. A little bit goes a long way when it comes to charity, when people are in need and down on their luck. I mean, $5 is a lot, so every little bit count. And I thank everybody for making a donation, contribution, and coming by and enjoying the day with us.
Absolutely, a lot of fun with the raffles, a lot of fun just period, and raffled off a lot of cool things. So that was really, really dope. And of course, I got the other legend with me, Mr. Late Night Sports himself, Coach Muki Hawkins. What's going on, Coach? How you feeling tonight, man?
Oh, I'm feeling good. I mean, you're counting down to Christmas, and Santa gonna be climbing down everybody's chimney. Good time of the year.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about, what I'm saying, how you enjoyed in the event, It was a dope event.
Oh, I had a great time. Just doing it live on location. Doing it with Jay Spence. Shout out to Buffalo Rumblings for being in the building.
Yeah.
Poncho's Army, from always showing support. Again, Dan Freddie, from opening his doors, him and Shane. Canna House, for them, doing what they did, and with Supreme Spirit. So it was always a good time where I can interact with Bill's Mafia, before game time. So I'm always having a good time at the Mafia House. Shout out, Sarah Lawson, Alyssa Milano, and all those groups that Bill's Mafia love so much.
This is crazy. Everybody you named is just great people all over. So, it really just speaks to the company that we keep here in Bills Mafia. A lot of charity to go around, a lot of donations, a lot of love. And it turned out to be a really, really good event, and we all had a lot of fun. And then after we had a lot of fun, we all got to watch the Bills basically clinch the division. I mean, they didn't technically do it yet, but I mean, 3 games left. They'd have to lose every one of the games in order not to clinch the division. And I mean, barring a super duper unfortunate event, that's probably not happening. But the Buffalo Bills did defeat the Miami Dolphins 29-32, believe it was. Yep, 29-32 on a last second time expiring field goal from Tyler Bass in the snow. A lot of good things from this game. Some maybe some negative things, but I really just feel like Miami also played well. I feel like it was a really, really good game. Muki, what did you take away from this game?
My blood pressure went up and then went back down again. Miami came to play. Miami came to play. Raheem Mostert had over 100 yards at the end of the first quarter. Tua played well. He was able to get the ball to Tyreek Hill and Waddle, at times. So I do have some concerns again with the Bills being ineffective on third down. Usually they used to hang their hat on getting teams off the field in the third down. I don't know what the issue is as of late, but that's something they desperately need to fix. And they've been exposed in areas where the offense is pretty much picking up the slack for that. And in certain areas they do win some third downs, but it's not as it used to be last year. I don't know if missing key players such as Von Miller and Micah Hyde, Jordan Phillips, have something to do with that. But we just playing a little bit too passive aggressive in my book. Bills don't think so. Their scheme is their scheme. Teams understand that scheme and they're using it to their advantage. I'm just going to say that the Bills did make some adjustments in that second half. I think that Tre'Davious White isn't all the way back as a lot of people would suspect. So that's something we're definitely going to get in. But all in all, Coach Dorsey did put together probably one of the greatest drives of the season when, they took every bit of the last 6 minutes on that drive and went down and, iced the game with Tyler Bass kicking the game-winning field goal with no time on the clock. So they did a good job in that last drive, getting some great balance. They took advantage of Miami playing that wide 9 and were able to run the edges there with Light's power gap scheme. Hopefully that can continue in Chicago and in weeks to come, with running Singletary that way or James Cook for even, that matter. But all in all, the Bills did whatever it took to win the game. So, they lived to fight another day, 5-game winning streak, and we're off to Chicago.
Absolutely. And we know Muki goes to basically all the home games. Rube was able to attend this one. How'd the game look to you from the alumni suites?
They have a crappy view. So I have to watch a lot of it on the video because we're stuck in the corner. So hopefully when they build the new stadium, the alumni will get a nice view like we had back in the day. But the game was kind of what, I expected, because early in the season, the hype was, that Miami was going to be improved. They're going to be a competitive team. They possibly in the playoffs. And here we are late in the season, and they got a chance to be in the playoffs. They've been a formidable team. We unfortunately have one loss to them, so they're no slouch. And it was a good test for the Bills at home in the Buffalo climate. And the good thing is they figured out a way to win the game. and win the game against a good team. We don't like the Dolphins, but we do respect that they're a good team. I mean, they're not horrible. They're good. They'll probably be in the playoffs. They got a good shot of being in the playoffs. So I liken this game to like a tune-up fight for the championships. You know what I mean? Like you got to fight somebody good to gauge where you are. And situationally on Sunday, they were able to come out on top. So, you know, I really enjoyed the game. I really liked it because it was a competitive game.
It was a competitive game. The Bills really came out to play, especially in the fourth quarter. Like you know, Coach said, they had that beautiful drive where, you know, they controlled the clock, they controlled the football, they made plays when they needed to make plays. I was on my way home from the game, and I got to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I got my ride. My ride came basically immediately after Josh got strip sacked, and it's 21-29, and I'm thinking like, oh, this game's over. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. With the way the Bills offense have been playing in recent weeks, I couldn't really see too many avenues in which the Bills is going to win. You know, so on my way home, my phone is on 15%. I'm scared to check the score. I'm leaving it, right? I get home, I turn the TV on. It's a minute left. The Bills got the ball at the 40, and it's a tie game. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna win this thing. So, you know, that was pretty cool. Went back and watched everything that happened, and it was just like, wow, you know, and I almost feel like I feel better that I had to go back and watch it, because I feel like I wouldn't have appreciated it as much if it happened in real time for me. But to take a look at what happened and the type of plays Josh was making, the runs that Devin Singletary was putting out, like it was impressive, you know, and especially when you know the outcome and you can say, all right, they did all this with the intention of going down, tying the game, getting a stop, and then ending the game. It was, you know, there was no meat left on the bone. They totally took it over. And that was impressive. That's the type of win that you really expect to see from a number one seed, especially in the AFC, which is arguably way better than the NFC. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, those top NFC teams seem a little fraudulent to me, personally. You know, I mean, the Eagles look good, but I don't like the Vikings. The Vikings do not seem like a good team to me. The Cowboys are super sporadic. You know what I mean? But when you look at the AFC, you got, you know, the Bills, the Chiefs, you know, the Ravens. I think Miami is an above average team. And, you know, when you take a look at the playoff seedings, you kind of see how things are shaking up here in the AFC. So with that loss, the Dolphins go from the first wild card spot and having an opportunity to win their division to essentially, I mean, it's over. Bills can clinch the division with the win this week in Chicago. And then not only is their division opportunities over, they now have fallen to the last wildcard spot. And, you know, those Jets, if they get Mike White back, I can't say that the Dolphins are that much better than the Jets. I really don't know. Take a look at the Dolphins. They're 8-6 right now. They got a fluky win over us. They got a fluky win over the Ravens. So theoretically, they could be 6-8. And then what are we looking at the Dolphins? The Dolphins just lost 3 straight. Let's say they lose the last 3. That'll be a 6 game losing streak to end the season. The narratives on Miami change completely. Tua goes from being this franchise quarterback that everybody's saying, oh, I was wrong about, right back to being they don't have a quarterback. You know, Mike McDaniels goes from being this super boy genius to like, he's just another, you know what I mean? He kind of remind me of the coach over there with the Chargers, to be completely honest with you, Brandon Staley. He kind of give me Brandon Staley vibes. But, you know, you take a look at the Miami Dolphins moving from the first wildcard spot to the last wildcard spot. And, you know, the requisite AFC seeding, you know, where you have the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals leading their division, the Titans leading their division, Ravens, who's the other team there sitting there? Oh, Chargers, of course, and then the Dolphins. And then you got the Patriots and the Jets at 7-7. And I'm also going to throw in the Jaguars because they're 6-8, and the Titans are 7-7. And they are
Jaguars, watch out for them.
So out of the, I'm going to go Chargers at 8-6, Dolphins at 8-6, Patriots at 7-7, Jets at 7-7. Which two of those teams do you see making the playoffs?
I feel better about the Jets. You know, out of all of them, I feel better about the Jets. I mean, the Jets seem like their defense travels, and oddly enough, they got a stable of quarterbacks that could put together at least one win. You know, so the Jets, out of the teams that you named, I named the Jets.
Do you think they're going to be the team that makes the play? You think they're the best team of the Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins, and Jets? You think they're the best team there?
Ravens, Dolphins, yeah. Wait, yeah. In that group, that's the Jets. You know, their quarterback obvious problems, but yeah, and Dolphins, same issue. You know, but out of all of them, the Jets' defense probably is what could carry them more than the rest of the issues.
I have to say, as a Bills fan, I take a look at the Jets, right? When we played them, Mike White, I mean, he earned my respect, if I'm being completely honest. You know, when he got injured, I would never root for a player to get injured because, like, that's real life, and this is a game. You know what I mean? A game we love, but still, it's not like
right?
You don't want to. But when Mike White came back from the locker room 2 different times, I was like, damn it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got a little worried. You know what I mean? And I really, it feels weird. It's almost weird to see a number 2 overall pick out there with the C on his chest, and the, what was he, 6th round pick, 7th round pick, something like that. That guy is actually the guy everybody's looking to as the starter. And the captain, who's the number 2 overall pick, is the guy who comes in, you know, to hold it down while Mike White is injured. So I'm going to pose the same question to you, Muki. When you take a look at the Jets, the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Ravens, what's the best team to you? The 2 best teams to you?
Right now, I still have to say the Miami Dolphins. Ravens.
Chargers, not Ravens. I'm sorry.
Oh, the Chargers?
Yeah.
See, now you need to switch it up. Now, you Chargers.
Because the Ravens are going to make the playoffs.
I'm going to say the Dolphins still. Even though the Chargers have beat Miami, I'll still go with Miami. I think they're a little bit more sounder on defense. They have weapons on offense, obviously. I like where they are being a 7th seed because guess what? Right now they're facing Kansas City, and I think they'll give Kansas City everything they can handle. You know, Kansas City hasn't really played anybody. If you look at my stat from last night of Patrick Mahomes, everybody, in the words of the late great Dennis Green, if you want to crown his ass, go ahead and crown his ass, but I'm tired of everybody sweating Patrick Mahomes like he's just this clear-cut runaway favorite for this MVP. And they lost to Indy, all right? Last-minute drive, he threw an interception against Indianapolis. He lost to Josh Allen at home on a last-minute interception. He's been throwing interceptions out there, and a lot of people don't even talk about when Patrick Mahomes throw interceptions. But they laud him when he does miraculous plays like the no-look to Jerick McKinnon. Like, that supersedes his bad performances. They almost lost to a 1-10-1 Houston Texan team. They went to overtime. Nobody's talking about that. They almost lost to a struggling Denver Bronco team. Nobody's talking about that. But if the Bills were to struggle against a Houston Texan team and Josh Allen throwing 3 interceptions and X, Y, and Z, oh, man, you would never hear the end of it. But it's Patrick Mahomes, and, I guess he's the face of the NFL, and he can't do no wrong. Now, he's a straight baller, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, he's no different from anybody else. I mean, he has not beat no elite quarterbacks on his resume. Okay, we give him Justin Herbert. But when it comes down to Josh Allen and Joe Burrow,
You haven't beat those guys this year. So I don't know how he's just so much of a clear-cut runaway favorite for this MVP award, and they're not even the number one overall seed in the NFL, in the AFC. So yeah, I have an issue with that, and I think that if Miami holds to be a 7 seed and Kansas City holds to be a 2 seed, that would probably be my upset. I'm going to pick Miami right there to knock Kansas City off because their secondary can't check Waddle or Tyreek Hill. And they have a defense enough to get after the quarterback. So I would take Miami in an upset and right now on that one because who have they played? Who have Kansas City really played? And what's a quality win for Kansas City right now at this point? Tampa Bay early in the season, really? Kansas. I mean, the Chargers. I mean, come on, man. They haven't really played anybody. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. But right now, I'm taking the Dolphins. They gave the Bills everything they can handle in the elements, and I'll say Miami right now out of those 4 teams.
You know what? That's interesting because to some degree, Tyreek Hill was a captain on that offense for a couple of years. You know what I mean? Like he knows that offense fairly well. And he's gone up against that defense, in practice every single day for years. You know what I mean? I think Tyreek Hill could get behind that defense. I think Jalen Waddle could get behind that defense. I also think that Tyreek Hill would be able to know enough about what the Chiefs want to do to be able to prepare his defense. And his defense is no slouch. So I agree with that. I'm sitting here looking at the Chiefs schedule. And remember that Arizona win that they had in week 1 and people thought that was a great win. Now it looks like crap because the Arizona Cardinals suck. They barely beat the Chargers. They lost to the Colts. They beat the Buccaneers. They barely beat the sucky Raiders. They lost to us. They did beat the 49ers. That's a good win. Barely beat the Titans.
But I don't think Bosa played in that game. Did Bosa play in that game? I don't think Bosa played in that game.
I think he was injured at the time. So take it. I mean, you take, like I said, you take a look at the Chiefs, and I said this last night on the radio. They play the Seahawks, they play the Broncos, and they play the Raiders. They should have lost to the Broncos if not for a Russell Wilson concussion. They lose that game. They should have lost to the Raiders if not for Devontae Adams uncharacteristically not getting his feet down and then running into Hunter Renfrow on 4th down. The Raiders beat them in that game. And then Seattle, we know Seattle is scrappy. We know Seattle can win games that they're not supposed to win. So I don't know. I kind of feel like a loss is inevitable at some point here to end the season for the Chiefs. And looking, like you said, looking at that 2-7 matchup, I can't confidently say that I would pick the Chiefs in that game. So, But while we're here, we might as well look at other matchups, right? So if the playoffs were to start today, you would have the Bengals taking on the Chargers. Ruben, what does that matchup look like?
Right now, the Bengals are hot. I think they got a few of their players healthy now. If I'm not mistaken, Mixon's back in the fold and Burrow's, slinging it and aggressively throwing the ball around on the field. So, and they got a strong defense. Defense can do some damage. It can pick it up at times. Now the defense has holes in it, but I think their overall team trumps that competition right there.
What about you, looking at the Bengals and the Chargers? What does that game look like? Who comes down?
Well, again, the Bengals are clicking at the right time late in the season, same way they did last year. They snuck up in the Super Bowl, and nobody was still trying to figure out how they got there. This team, I said it in the beginning of the season. Cincinnati is definitely a team to, be reckoned with. I mean, they are the defending AFC champion, right? And so somebody beat them as such, then here it is, So, I'll have to take Cincinnati in that regard. Even though I know that You know, that probably be a shootout with Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow there, but I'm definitely getting Cincinnati to nod in that matchup.
Yeah. Finally, before we get into Bills versus Bears review, the last playoff game would be Titans versus Ravens, two teams that don't look so hot right now. And Titans could very easily be out of that spot, and it could be Jaguars versus Ravens, or even, you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens there. But as of right now, let's go.
Can the Ravens be out of that spot? Can the Ravens be out of that spot?
He said, yeah.
Yeah, they could be. They could be in the fourth, the 3 seed over Cincinnati theoretically. I do think they're going to make the playoffs because at 9-5, a 7-7 team would have to come in and knock them out. And I don't see them losing all 3 games rather. But looking at the Titans and Ravens, Muki, what does that game look like?
2 teams without their starting quarterback. No points being scored in that game. That's definitely going to be a defensive battle. I mean, Titans do got Derrick Henry, but, you know, Baltimore has Calais Campbell, Roquan Smith, and Patrick Queen. So this would be nothing but a baseball scoring game. Just like, you know, it'd probably be like a 10-17 matchup, something like that. An ugly game. I would have to give probably I mean, that's just tough.
Struggling.
That's just tough. With no Lamar Jackson, I got to give Tennessee to nod. I mean, no Tannehill for the rest of the season. Malik Willis gets the nod. I'm going with Tennessee.
What you thinking, Ruben?
Yeah, oddly enough, you know, I was looking how today, if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee is on the losing streak.
I believe they are, yeah.
And I don't think that's normal for that type of team or a Mike Vrabel team to be losing at this point in time of the year. But I guess, you know, you got injuries. That's a factor in all of these other things. And the Titans always play tough. So in this particular case, I would take the Titans. You know, I think maybe Malik Willis, along with Derrick Henry, and the scheme of the Titans stays so much to what they originally are with the loss of their star quarterback. I don't think they have to adapt that much to make Malik Willis comfortable or their offense comfortable or the scheme. Whereas over in Jacksonville, I think it's a whole lot more. I mean, you know, Lamar is way more dynamic, you know, of a single player that can affect the game, running and passing. He's out of the game, so that team looks totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Muki said, it would be basically 2 teams without their starting quarterbacks. No Ryan Tannehill, no Lamar Jackson. Although Lamar could theoretically play out, I don't think Ryan Tannehill could play. It would be a dynamic, you know, quarterback, backup quarterback who could be the future face of his team in Tennessee. And, I mean, a dynamic quarterback who I guess could theoretically be the future face of his team in Tyler Huntley. You hear a lot of Ravens fans saying, oh, no, let's not give Lamar this money. Let's just stick with Tyler Huntley. I don't know about that. I wouldn't say all that, but you know, this is what people are saying. They think that the lesser production Tyler Huntley gives is, you know, worth the money
Justus.
you wouldn't be giving him. You know what I mean?
Justus, are you listening to what you're saying right now?
I'm just telling you what I've heard from Ravens fans.
Ravens fans they need to get off the angel dust.
Yeah.
I agree. Pay Lamar. Lamar should have been paid, as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, definitely.
I just hope he don't go to Miami.
Yeah, we don't want that.
God, please.
We don't want that to happen.
Let's go to Texas. Go to the Texas.
Go to the Texas.
Somewhere in the NFC. Go somewhere in the NFC. All right. Next up, we got the game that is going to be happening this weekend. Another Saturday game for the Buffalo Bills as they taking on Ruben's Chicago Bears. Now, these are both two teams that Ruben played for. Okay, so he has a lot of love for both teams, both cities, and that kind of brings me to my question I have for you. So, talk a little bit about Chicago and Buffalo. You know, just the cultural impact that each of them have, and you know what that means for their football teams.
You know, when I first returned from Chicago, I told a lot of Buffalo people, I said, Chicago is in Buffalo, they're relatives, they're cousins. There's so much that's similar. You know, obviously Chicago's the largest city, but the Chicago really is more about all around Chicago. You know what I mean? And all around Chicago is all like Buffalo. I'm telling you, people, they're family-oriented people that it's same type of hard-working mentality that Buffalo has, you know, Chicago has. I think Chicago has a chip on its shoulder, just like Buffalo has a chip on its shoulder. You know how people in Buffalo are like hear people like, oh, Buffalo, like try to put Buffalo down, you know, for having too much snow or something like that. Well, you go to Chicago, it's kind of the same. They'll put Chicago down for being too windy, you know, or too cold, you know. Oh, that cold out there. So, you know, there's some similarities in Buffalo and Chicago. And then when you get into the team, it's definitely 100% just like Buffalo and Chicago are brothers that got split up. One chose this side and the other one chose this side. But if you get together, you will find out that passion for the team is the same. Chicago doesn't have a Bills Mafia, you know, because it's too big of a city for that, you know, really hometown uprising that the Bills Mafia has. Whereas in Chicago, I mean, it stretches from, you know, Lower Paraguay into Indiana all the way up to Wisconsin. I mean, that's a lot of territory. So, and everyone's passionate. I had an amazing time in Chicago. And the fans love a hard-working player. You know what I mean? And the fans in Chicago really support and love the players. They really do, because no one really likes the ownership. What they got a love-hate relationship with the ownership in Chicago. They don't think the ownership is done enough for, you know, for the fans and put the team in a good light over so many years, you know. So that's the type of frustration they have. But the love that the fans have for their players, whether you are a walk-on or a backup or anything, they love the Chicago Bears. And I think it's the same thing in Buffalo, but Buffalo is a little tougher. You know, if you were just on the team for like a couple of days, Buffalo gonna be like, nah. Chicago, you'll be like, I got on the practice squad for one day. They be like, really? I'll give you a job, man. You was with the Bears? They're like, yo, I'm working with him. He played for the Bears. We're like, yo, no, he didn't. He just came in and tried uniform on and left. But that's, you know, the difference. You know, in Buffalo, you're gonna have to have had that. Now, I went to the game and I saw you play. Okay, now you the guy. You that guy. But if they'll be Buffalo, they'll be like, yo, I saw you on the bench. Nah. nah. But in Chicago, you could have been on the bench and they'll give you a job. They'd be like, yo, he was on the bench. You know. So that's the difference, you know, a larger city and everything. But I have
Tell-
to tell you guys, I had an amazing time. My oldest son is a diehard Chicago Bear fan. I think my middle son and my daughter are Bills fans. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Benjamin is a Bills fan, but Solomon is definitely a hardcore Bears fan. So Dad has to put two hats on. You know what I mean? Whether I like it or not, I got to roll with my boy. You know, he got into some fights here in Buffalo when he was going to junior high because he rolled into school wearing his Bears gear on, and we were winning at that time. You know, so
okay.
yeah, they won't feeling it, and he quiet, but if you pick on his Bears, he gonna rise up on you. So he had a few run-ins, but now everybody in Buffalo around him and the people that work on, they got respect and love for him because you know they know his dad played for us, so they give him a pass. I would say, you know what I mean.
So let me ask you this, Ru. Let me ask you this: chicken wings, or deep dish pizza?
Oh man, I don't fuck with deep dish pizza. No, I don't mess with that stuff, man. I'm a pizza snob, and I only must mess with New York style pizzas. And I'm gonna be real. If you go to Orchard Park and talk to Papasino's Pizza, they're gonna tell you Ruben Ruben want the thin crust New York style. All right. I don't fuck with Buffalo pizza. Buffalo shops know that. I don't fuck with that pizza. I'm a New York style pizza. Now, wings all day, Buffalo. You know you get wings in Buffalo. You don't fuck around. You're gonna try to have wings somewhere else. I actually went to Chicago and people were ordering wings. They brought the wings to the table. I was like, what is that? They were like, these are buffalo wings. I said, they're not wings. I don't know what they are. They were some little scrawny things that you couldn't even. I'm like, they look like poppers. They ain't even no wings.
Pigeon wings.
Yeah, so Chicago. Let me tell you, if you're gonna have a steak, if you're ever gonna have a steak in your life, you going to Chicago and you have yourself a steak. And steak is so good in Chicago. If you go there and you have a bad steak, that place ain't gonna be open. I mean, that's how serious it is out there, Chicago and steak. I know a lot of people talk about the deep dish. There's a couple other Chicago style things that are good, but hands down, go get a steak in Chicago. I'm telling you, people say Texas, this, that, no, go to Chicago and get you a big boy. I'm talking a steak like big as my hand and my half of my head, man. The dude at Gibson's come out with the steak and he grabbed the bone and he slapped it on his hands. Like, this what you want? This what you want? Joke about, I mean, that thick. You got Chicago. Go to Chicago, get a big steak, man. That's where it's at. Actually, that's what we're gonna do when we go. We're going to Gibson's and having us a big, huge steak. And the dessert is bigger than, like, you order a slice of pie, it's a pie, a whole pie. The slice is a whole pie. You need to bring like 6 people to eat the damn thing. So,
all right. One last question. One last question about your days in Chicago versus Buffalo. Or not even versus Buffalo, but and Buffalo. Who are some of your favorite players from your Bills days and from your Bears days?
Well, all the legends were my favorite. I'm friends and, practically family with all of the Buffalo guys. John Fina in particular, because he and I played the longest together. I think we had like over 8 consecutive years playing side by side at one point in time. That was the longest tandem guard and tackle in the league. We had been together that long. So John and I and a bunch of other guys, I mean, Bruce Thurman, Ted Washington, Pat Williams, family. You know what I mean? Family. And all of us found it tough. Bruce did, Thurman did, Ted did, Pat did, all the guys that left. Antoine Whitfield, we had to lead the team and go find a new home. And I was, blessed, 100% blessed to go to Chicago, and they were over the moon to, like, I walked in the building and it's like, yo, we got Ruben Brown up in here. And I'm like, whoa, I thought I was thrown on the trash heap. Nobody wanted me. You know what I mean? And they was like, no, we got you up in the house. It's on. And that was Olin Kreutz, one of the greatest centers ever played a game in football, mean, nasty, tough dude. And we practiced across from Brian Urlacher. Hey, I'm telling you. And then we had a whole bunch of other guys. Devin Hester was a rookie. Tommy Harris was coming in. Tank Johnson played. Mike Brown, amazing safety. Mike Brown, amazing. Then Peanut Tillman was just over there. We had ballers, man. And then my O-line was probably one of the ruggedest groups that I worked with. I was the old guy. And they were like looking at me like, yo, if this old joker can get, I'm going to go out there and get some too. But really, Olin was my inspiration out there when I was in Chicago. And then I'm going to tell y'all an honest, weird fact about my football career. I got to Buffalo. My athletic trainer was Rusty Jones until 2003. I went to Chicago. After 1 year, Rusty came over and finished the last 3 years of my contract. So technically, out of 13 years, Rusty Jones was my strength and conditioning coach for 12 of those years. So out of all the people, football players and everybody that I rode with, Rusty Jones is actually my dog. You know, because we went, me and him went to the Super Bowl together in Chicago, and I spent a lot of time in the weight room with Rusty. So, you know, that Buffalo love that me and him had and that family thing, we took it over there to Chicago. They ate it up. They were asking us about, yo, what was y'all doing in Buffalo? How y'all do? I used to wear the receivers out. I was like, yo, on the jugs, man. Get on the jugs. So, you know, it was love. I didn't like to have to go start up a new career. But, you know, that's another reason why when you saw I went to Chicago, I wore a different number. I didn't want to wear the same number. I was kind of putting all that back behind me, you know, about playing in Buffalo. I wanted to do something different. Actually, when I first got to Chicago, I was actually trying to play on the right side opposed to the left side until somebody got hurt. And then, you know, they naturally put me over on the left, and the rest was history.
Fair enough.
Imagine you on the right side. Imagine you on the right side.
That's what Olin said. We was practicing on the right, and Olin's like, what are you doing? I said, nah, man, I'm do something different over here. He's like, okay, let's see how long that lasts. Somebody went down. Look, the left guard that was there at the time went down, and he was a younger dude. And as soon as he went down, the next day we going to practice, Olin looked at me and was like, all right, you stop, you finished playing over there. Now come over here and go to bed. Enough.
But how difficult is that, though? How difficult is that, Rube, like from switching from the left to the right? Because, you know, your alignment has to be different. Like, your right foot has to be back, you know, rather than the left foot. And some people really can't do that. They can't make that adjustment on playing from the left to the right. You know, how difficult is that?
It was very difficult for me. It would have been easier for me to move from left to center at the later part of my career. But because I honestly, my body actually started to lean
Mhm.
like I was always on the left.
Wow.
So even if I went to right, my body just it didn't adjust back. You know what I mean? Now, early in my career, I was able. I went to the Pro Bowl. I used to switch side to side, but it was so quick and sparing. My body didn't have no problem with it.
Mhm.
But when I like went to Chicago and I was every day on the right side, and I won't going back to the left, my body was shaped and set up for
That's what I
know
was.
for what was I 8-9 years in Buffalo doing everything on the left. Now I'm gonna do, it would have been easier for me to go to center than to right guard, but it worked out. I could do it, but it was a lot tougher in the later part of my year, just because so much had been put into being on the left.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a lot of things people don't know about, man. How it's not easy to make that switch from left to right.
No, it ain't.
So when you see a guy doing that, you go like, well, that guy's a damn athlete. You know what I mean? He can play on both sides, either left or right. That's an asset. Those are the type of guys you don't want to let go.
Oh, totally. We had a lot of guys that could move right around, but then some guys just couldn't make that move, and they specialized in that one spot. Like me, if you specialize in one spot, you better be damn good at it. You gotta be good at it.
Fallback plan.
Well, that goes without saying. You know what I mean? Well, we got 9 Pro Bowls underneath our belt. You know what I mean? Hall of Fame status around here. So
Yeah,
I'm just saying, bro. Come on.
We good. But I did do it. I could do it. And look, I went to the Pro Bowl several times. Even with Alan Faneca and all of them jokers was over there, they couldn't switch over there as easy as I could. I could do it. I did it. And I was doing it against the top-notch guys when we were actually playing a game, not pity-patting a game, all right? Y'all got to know I played in the time of actual playing the Pro Bowl game. When John Randall, let me tell you, he didn't care nothing about no take it easy. No. John Randall, Jerome Bettis was yelling at me in one of the games, like, come on, slow him down. He got you all the way here in the backfield. I'm like, yo, they all Pro Bowlers here. I'm like, yeah, if I get pushed back a little bit, that's on the real. I mean, because they could do that to anybody.
And John was, he was what, 6 foot? So he already came with that leverage. He already was low, so he can get underneath you real quick, and then he definitely used that size to his advantage.
He knew leverage, and he was the speed and strength with his leverage. He could catch you if you weren't right. John didn't know that I knew how to wrestle. I was a wrestler, and that is something that if you had that skill, you could get with John. John didn't know that about wrestlers. Wrestlers was a lot tougher to tip over and get off balance than the other linemen that he was facing. You know what I mean? So I could get with John.
And Coach McDermott would have loved you, man. He's a wrestler.
Yeah, I knew that about him.
He would definitely loved you. You would be probably one of his favorite guys. He let you play on the right side too.
I tried to do it all, man. I tried to play some defense. They wouldn't let me. I wanted to be on goal line for defense, and they were like, no, they pay you too much money. I was like, come on, man, it's football, dog. You know what I mean? You need another big body up in the middle. I could get at least, I'm an old lineman. I know how to clog it up. But they didn't want to do it. Dick LeBeau let me come and practice it a couple of times just in case somebody got hurt. But and he knew I wanted it. I was like, come on, man, let me get on that D-line one time. Let me get out there in the end zone.
You definitely had the attitude. You definitely had the attitude for it. So I could have seen you playing out there a few snaps.
Yeah, the goal line shit. I watched Ted. I practiced against Ted. I knew exactly what to do. Him and Pat, I knew what to do. And I saw exactly how they did it. I was like, I could do that. But back then we actually played the Pro Bowl. Now, I keep saying that over and over because right now, this year, they turn it into a skills competition. And in years past, they've had all kinds of things from the long jump, the obstacle, hop, or whatever, but my rookie year,
deep ball throw they did.
Yeah, my first year that I played with the OGs. It was Bruce Matthews, Mark Stepnowski, Bruce Armstrong, Richmond Webb, Damani Dawson.
Yeah, you play with some OGs.
All right. See, these are cats. I go out there. I'm going out there with. I think Will Shields was in there too. We go out there and we playing against, I think, Eric Swan. I can only remember Eric Swan because Bruce Matthews and Stepnowski is like, yo, you getting all these snaps. Like, you the young new guy, you get so I played the whole game. And I ain't know the tempo of the Pro Bowl game. I went out there, and when Eric Swan came off that rock, slapped me in the head slap a few times. I said, oh, snap.
It's real. This is real.
Yes. We playing this joker. And then this is the key. Everybody knew this. The game kind of is like third tempo. Do you know what third tempo is? Y'all know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Muki know what third tempo is because he's a coach. So third tempo is everything live right up to the contact collision, and then you stop. You know what I mean? Like everything live. You ain't gonna tackle and bring nobody down, but you're gonna come up to the run back and hit them like you are. That's third. You get them third, and then that's it. No taking to the ground. So everything's pretty much full speed. And Eric Swan come off the ball, and like his tempo is off the chain right off the bat, like John Randall. But when the fourth quarter came, all fun and games was off. Everybody was like, okay, money time.
It's money
time. A real game, like real. Everybody was starting to play. Somebody wanted the MVP to go get the truck. So everybody was balling. Jokers was flying all over the field. I said, yo, all right, this is serious. And I mean, these are top guys, the top guys. So game was third up until fourth quarter. If it was tight, if the game was tight, it tipped up. If somebody had gotten out to a lead, then it was all fun and games. We still third. You third through it and just finished the game. But if it was tight and you got the chance to get that money, that extra $5,000, $10,000, whatever they had, you picked it up. And my Jokers was balling then. You was out there. I was on the field with John Elway, if I'm not mistaken. I was on the field with Reggie White. Come on, son. You know what I mean? I've been on the field with Larry Allen. You know what I mean? It's crossed the way over there yelling at me, yo, Rube. I'm like, Larry Allen saying hi to me? Come on, dog. You know what I mean? I told Jerry Rice, I said, yo, man, have somebody put your stuff away because I'm so tempted to take something. His locker was right next to mine. I was like, I'm so tempted to take something, man. I said,
right.
I'm not.
Jersey, a cleat.
Man, Jerry Rice sitting next to you each day you go in the locker room. I'm just scratching my hand. I'm like, man, that wristband. Oh, that wristband so bad. But then the thought came to me. I'm like, yo, everybody know you in the Pro Bowl. You just tell the story. I'm like, all right, so his stuff was safe. It definitely crossed my mind, and I told him, I was like, man, oh shoot, something here might be gone when you come back. Yeah.
Need that souvenir.
Yeah. And I can even remember me and Carl Pickens sharing the same shoes. He had the same size foot as mine, and he sat next to me. 79 in the 80s usually sit next to you. So I ended up sitting next to a lot of the receivers, whenever we was in the Pro Bowl. And Carl Pickens was one of the coolest ones. Me and him, somehow his shoe people didn't have shoes, and I had extra ones. Woody and Hojo them would always hook me up with tons of stuff. I had some shoes, and I hit him off with them. And I think I got them shoes signed by him, and they in some storage somewhere. Yeah. But Carl Pickens, come on, dog. That's back in the Jeff Blake days. Willie Beeman.
Willie Beeman.
Yeah, drop it from the sky.
Well, he's been around a lot of Hall of Famers, so you'll soon be one yourself, big guy.
Hey man, I appreciate it. I feel like I'm in the circle of all the big dogs. You know what I mean? My people is who they are and who they were, So I'm blessed. You know what I mean? I'm blessed. I'm truly, truly blessed. I've had experiences with Cortez Kennedy, Junior Seau, Derek Thomas, Reggie White, you name all of them dudes. I done like straight up kicked it with them, got to know them, and that experience right there, I got my jacket on already. Y'all can't see it.
Now people looking at those experiences when they see Ruben Brown. That's what they think of. Your people's Larry Allen now.
No, it's love. It's all love.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Before we get up out of here, let's talk a little bit about the Bills-Bears game. Buffalo Bills should, by all accounts, win this game. But the Bears did give the Eagles a bit of a scare. Jalen Hurts seemed flustered and frustrated. Couldn't really get a lot going. Thank goodness for him that he has one of, if not the best wide receiver in the league on his team, because he went off. He kind of leaned on him, which, I mean, you should do with your best wide receiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Muki, if you're still there, tell us a little bit about this game, what the Bills need to do to secure this W.
Well, they need to contain Justin Fields. All right. It's going to be, like Ruben said, the Windy City is going to be 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. It's going to be below temperatures with 40 mile per hour gusts. And I know Ruben can probably contest to, some of those games, playing there. In Chicago really don't throw the ball anyway. So, they're going to, they got Khalil Herbert back. So, it's all heavy RPO. It's heavy run game. The way the Bills is how they handle the run as of late fits Chicago's strong suits. I mean, you got a quarterback right now who's over 1,000 yards in rushing. He's 206 yards away from breaking Lamar Jackson's single season rushing record as a quarterback, and I think he's going to do that. But I think the Bills need to shut down a run, force them in third and long situations, make them pass. You have to make Chicago do things that they normally don't do, which throw the ball. All right. Force them to throw on third and long situations, get them off the field. And, the Bills are going to have to counter that with their own run game as well. We know Josh can play in the elements, but in these type of winds and these type of gusts, we'll see how strong of an arm he really has. Will the Bills really – I say Bills need to be really – cautious on throwing the ball down the field. It should be quick game. It should be quick outs. Everything should be quick. Quick hitches, quick outs. Bubbles, slants, stuff like that. So the Bills have a little bit more of a balanced tack than Chicago. They just have to make Chicago throw the ball. They need to force Chicago to be in third and long situations, and if they can do that, then they have a great chance on winning this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Buffalo Bills definitely need to be efficient, if nothing else, in this game. If you play efficient, you win this game. You have the better roster. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? The one team is, 11-3 for a reason, and the other one is not even sniffing the playoffs for a reason. I think this is a good opportunity for them to be able to say, hey, you're a great player, and we know you're a great player, and we're going to take you out of the football game. We are not going to let you run. We're going to contain these edges, and not to just say, all right, come at us, and we're going to stop you from scoring touchdowns, but you can pretty much do whatever else you want against us. You know what I mean? Hopefully that is not the case, and this will be a good opportunity versus what should be I don't want to say easy win, but which should be a W for the Bills. It'll be a good opportunity to shore up their offense to play at a consistent and efficient level, and then a good opportunity for their defense to play against a really, really good player and say, we're going to stop you. Rube, when you look at this game, what do you expect to see from these teams?
Well, I want to see the Bills possess the football, get the ball, keep it, don't turn it over, and move it methodically down the field. The Bills, like you said, Justus, on paper, they have all the things that say they're the better team. They have the quarterback that's experience-wise, and all of that's better. Offensive staff, defensive staff, personnel, everything says Buffalo Bills have the better team. Now, what could be the X factor is, Justin Fields is an amazing player. This guy is a guy that takes it to the house. You hear sayings about, oh, this guy could take it to the house. No, Justin definitely takes it to the house. You know what I mean? He gets out of contain. It's touchdown. I mean, that's rare. Not many people can do that. I made comparison. There's no comparison to any other player in the league. I mean, like that. I mean, who else do you know that could just outrun everyone? I mean, everyone. He can outrun receivers, DBs, everybody. So that's dangerous. In the way that you're going to beat the Bears, and, I'm a former Bear, and I do a lot of stuff with the Bears and talk to the Bears fans. And the way you beat the Bears in a lot of ways, just let them, kind of self-destruct, don't give them any opportunities to do anything other than self-destruct. And that's really just play a conservative game plan. Hold on to the ball, run the ball, pass it when you can, and play good, sound defense. Don't do anything special on defense, like try to spy him or just do anything extra. No, just tell your defense, look, go to tackle him. Don't stand around looking, spying. If your feet are flat-footed and you spying, that dude gone. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So don't spy. Just go get him. Go tackle him. Go put your body on him. Game tackle him. That's where you're going to win the game. Mm-hmm. And the Bills just need to be conservative. Don't turn the ball. Josh don't have to do nothing special. Diggs don't have to do nothing special. This is a team they should beat. So just don't turn the ball over. Do the normal things that you've always done. Actually, get some other guys in the mix. You know what I mean? Get some other players in the mix to build this momentum for the playoffs. They need to take the big picture look at the team. We can beat them. So run an offense where you get everybody involved and move the ball down the field. And the game will end faster if you run it opposed to if you pass it. And I'll tell you right now, you don't want to keep stopping that clock in that cold.
Well, hey, like I said, this is the perfect game to see what Dorsey is going to do as far as running the ball, because the Bills have had lead after lead after lead, and they refuse to run the ball. And we all know when you got a lead, you're supposed to run the ball. The Bills refuse to do that. So maybe today, maybe Saturday is that day, especially with the winds are swirling, that I mean,
So,
eventually they're going to pass. That's who they are. But if they're
Mhm.
up, they're going to have to run the ball, often than not. Saturday.
Yeah, they got to be conservative. Hold on to the ball, move it down the field methodically, and keep their offense off the field. When they get out there, make them be cold and stiff because they hadn't been on the field for a while, and keep your offense warm by just methodically running 10, 15, 12 play drives, and you'll be good.
True.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been our show here at Believe in Bills. So before we get up out of here, we're going to leave you guys with our final thoughts on the day. We're going to start off with a moment with Coach Muki Hawkins. As you guys know, we finished the show. We each give our final thoughts. So what's on your mind tonight, Coach?
On my mind, Tre'Davious White. I know he's been balling. He's been playing, complete games and finish them out. But I saw something in Miami that let me know. I mean, he's slowly getting himself back, and we all know when you tear an ACL, it's really take you a whole another year to get back in the swing of things. So I'm asking Coach McDermott, you have Kyer Elam, you have Dane Jackson, you have Xavier Rhodes, you have Christian Benford, who possibly could be back next week. Rotate all those guys.
Yeah.
Don't just have Tre'Davious just over there playing by himself all the snaps right now. Bring him along, a little bit more slower than what you're doing with him. Rotate these guys. You have them for a reason. You're paying Xavier Rhodes, what, $4 or $5 million this year, and he's healthy scratch. Like, use all your players, because when Christian Benford come back, you're going to play him. You're playing him over your number 1 draft pick. So I think that if you're going to do that, rotate all of them, even Tre'Davious, bring him along slow, just prep him for the playoffs and then turn him loose a little bit more. I think that he's playing too many snaps right now in my eyes. And, I don't know if his confidence is all the way there. So just rotate them in, rotate them all. That's what I have to say about that. I think that Kyer Elam played well again versus the Miami Dolphins. And, right now, I think it's more of the DB's coach, John Butler, pounding the table for Christian Benford, rather than, Kyer Elam. Villanova plays the same exact scheme as the Buffalo Bills. So he's, I guess, more of a scheme fit than, Kyer. Kyer is more of a press man, and they're teaching him how to play off man. So, those are the differences on where you see sometimes Kyer doesn't see the field. But you need that. You need press corners too on your team. You just can't play off all the time. You need a guy like Kyer Elam. So he gives you that balance. I mean, you could play press man on one side and cover 3 on the other side. You know what I mean? The Bills have to get a little bit more foxy and creative in their defense and their offense for the most part. But for them to be deep at the cornerback position, use all of those guys. Use them all.
Absolutely. In the same vein, rather, that they, actually use the defensive ends. They rotate those guys in and out and keep them fresh.
Right.
And when Muki asked the question, he posed the question to the team of the Buffalo Bills. They all said, "Hey, why is Coach McDermott a player's coach?" And they, for the majority, say he knows our body. He gives us break when we need him. He knows what we need when we need it, and is able to help them perform at their best. So I completely agree with you. All right, next up, we got our Hall of Famer, our resident Hall of Famer, Ruben Brown. Ruben's rundown. What's on your mind tonight, Rube?
It was several different things I was thinking about, but I think probably the most important thing I'd like to run down is the fact that the Buffalo Bills need to look at these next few games leading into the playoffs. We know they're going to the playoffs. They've stacked up enough wins to have a playoff berth. So This is a perfect time for them to hone their skills to once that first playoff game comes, they are prime and ready to go. Use these next games to think about all the situations, think about the past, think about what you're going through right now to prepare yourself for the ultimate run. You put in all the hard work all year long. You've gone through all the adversity, injuries, ups and downs, and you continue to battle. But you found yourself somehow, some way with a playoff berth right now, and with 3 games left. Win all 3 of these games, they could be playing all the playoff games in Buffalo.
Yes,
Lose
sir.
one or two along the way, and then you're going to have to hit the road in order to win out to go to the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, I'm saying that the Buffalo Bills need to use this last stretch of games as a tune-up for the big battle, for the big fight. These are your sparring partners. You're going to spar off this weekend on Saturday against the Chicago Bears. Don't mess around. Knock them out. Go out from the get-go and knock them out. And don't toy with them like you a cat playing with a mouse. Kill them, chop the head off, devour them, split them up, and worry about the rest. Start knowing how to have that killer instinct, because that killer instinct is what it's going to take for you to win in the playoffs. And last thing, everybody knows me. All I do is talk about run. And in order to win in the playoffs, you are going to have to run the ball. Deion Dawkins not making the Pro Bowl, that's because the offense didn't run the damn ball enough. The guy is more than capable. He should be a Pro Bowl player, but he's not because we haven't run the ball enough. And we're going to need that running attack in the playoffs to secure victories, possibly secure home field advantage, but definitely we will not win the Super Bowl without an effective running game. So get to work. Start sparring right now. Get the Oklahoma drill going. And listen, Chicago is the best place on earth to actually run the ball. Throwing it all over the place is not going to matter in Chicago in that weather. I'm telling you. Chicago is so cold, the poorest person out there that's on welfare wears a mink coat. Right? That's how cold it is out there. So don't play around, run the ball, and be big boys and win the game.
You're right. I mean, you look at Roger Saffold. He was a Pro Bowler, blocking for Derrick Henry. And what did they do?
The ball enough to let him be a Pro Bowler. They messed him up.
They messed both of them up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Messed both of them
They
up.
should have been Pro Bowlers, man. That made no sense. Them boys balled this year.
See?
Yeah, absolutely.
We got Terran Armstead and guys from Houston making a Pro Bowl for crying out loud. Come on, man.
Justus, before you go, I will say this now. I gotta say, see, I hate how the voting is, but Sam Gash and I went 3-13, and then also Larry Sinners and I went when we were 4 and something. So
12.
Yeah, 4 and 12. Yeah. So actually, I went with 2 legends to the Pro Bowl on one of our worst seasons, but we were balling though. We was rocking heads, man. I mean, me and Sam Gash, we was knocking motherfuckers out. And then Larry came. Larry was balling, but Larry's like the top running back, fullback, receiver of all time.
Right.
That dude was nuts. I'm telling
you.
So, I could understand, a losing team getting a Pro Bowl player. Trust me, I know that.
But they ain't got no Larry Sinners over there, man. Let's be quiet.
There ain't no Larry Sinners, no
Larry Sinners.
because the the Chargers sucked, but they knew
Right.
we knew Junior Seau was over there.
Right, but Larry Sanders was catching good 70 passes a year
Right.
from the
I feel
fullback
you.
spot.
Yeah.
You know, and he was still knocking heads off leading as a fullback. We don't get 21 personnel enough, you know, for do that. We got a guy in Reggie Gillum that's able to do it, but we just haven't done it. You know,
They tripping. They tripping.
It's straight true. But you know, there it is.
For a general rule, I was actually going to end up saying a lot of I was going to say a lot of the stuff that Ruben ended up saying. So I'm just going to wish everybody a happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, everybody. This is BLEAV in Buffalo. I'm going to let Coach send this out.
The Bills is on a 5-game winning streak. Do you believe?
Go Bills.
Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information, from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online is where the game starts.